So today, we're going to dive into a really powerful idea, one that sits right at the heart of the Christian faith, and that's the unshakable confidence that comes from God's love. We're going to unpack a devotional that gets right into what this assurance really means, and how it can totally change the way we face life's biggest fears.
All right, let's just start with a question. And be honest with yourself. Do you ever have that fear of rejection, of being judged, or even of being abandoned? You know, that feeling can pop up anywhere. In our friendships, at work, or even when we're all alone with our thoughts.
And look, if you feel that way, it's so important to know you're not alone. This is a super common human experience, even for people who have a deep faith. But the cool thing is, the devotional we're digging into today says there's a real answer to that fear, a solid foundation that can replace all that anxiety with peace. So, what is that answer? Well, it's built on something the Source calls an unbreakable promise. This is the core idea, the thing that's supposed to give us security against all those fears we just mentioned. Let's see what that promise is all about.
Okay, this right here, from the book of Romans, this is the bedrock of the whole message. The Apostle Paul writes with just incredible conviction. He lists literally everything you can think of: life and death, angels and demons, the past and the future, anything high or low, and says, nope, none of it. Not a single thing has the power to cut you off from God's love. That's a huge statement of security, right?
So what this all boils down to is a concept called eternal security. And it basically means that salvation isn't something you can, have one day and lose the next. It's a permanent relationship, and the whole thing rests on God's unchanging love, not on our ability to hang on tight.
Okay, but is this just a nice idea in a book, or does it actually work when things get tough, when the pressure's on? Well, the devotional looks at how this very belief was put to the test in some pretty intense, real-world situations.
And this is such a powerful way to look at it, right? You've got the Apostle Paul. I mean, this guy faced everything: trials, opposition, even his own personal failures. And then there's King David, dealing with people trying to kill him, betrayals, and massive personal mistakes. The point is, even these giants of faith had serious struggles. So the takeaway here is that their anchor wasn't how strong they were. It was their conviction, their belief that God's love wasn't going anywhere. And that's the key. This wasn't just some comforting thought. It actually fueled them to be bold, to be courageous, and to act. All right, so we've talked about the what. Now let's get into the how. How do we take this big idea and actually make it part of our everyday lives? The next section focuses on exactly that: how to actively live in this assurance. The text gives us 3 really practical things we can do. First, just meditate on it. Think about it. Let that assurance of God's love actually change how you respond when you're feeling challenged or doubtful. Second, and this might feel a little weird at first, but say it out loud. There's real power in speaking that truth to yourself. It helps build that confidence. And finally, let it actually guide what you do. Let that feeling of being secure and loved inspire you to be bolder and maybe a little kinder to the people around you. And to help make this all a bit more personal, the devotional includes this prayer. It's really a way to ask for the strength to take that inner confidence and turn it into something you share with others. You know, that whole idea of sharing love, well, that leads us right into the final part of this. Because this isn't just about feeling good yourself. It's about an invitation to join a bigger mission. So, for anyone listening who might be new to all this, or is maybe looking for a fresh start, the Source offers what it calls a prayer of salvation. It's presented as that very first step to personally experiencing the love and security we've been talking about. And going beyond that personal step, there's this huge mission they call Operation 500 Million Souls. And they lay out a few different ways you can get involved, depending on what works for you. You can become a prayer partner, serve as a volunteer missionary, or support the work as a kingdom investor. And of course, if you want to get involved, you need to know how to connect. As you can see, the community is, well, it's everywhere. From direct contact info to groups on WhatsApp and Telegram, all the way to Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, and YouTube. So I'll just leave this on the screen for a moment so you can grab a screenshot or jot down whatever works best for you.
And I think this is so cool. It really shows you just how global this community is. You've got people connecting for prayer at the same time from the UK and Nigeria and the US and South Africa. It's a really powerful picture of a community that's united no matter where they are in the world.
And so we come to the final thought from the source material. And it's a big one. It's a challenge, really, to prepare your heart and your life for the return of Jesus Christ. So why does all this assurance matter? Well, according to the text, it's the very foundation that lets you live your life with a sense of hopeful expectation for what's to come.